It's 9:01. We're going to get things going. And basically, we're going to go through this. At the end, we absolutely have time for any of your questions. So we'll kind of run through everything and then answer your questions from there. But good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us for our Google Tips and Tricks webinar. Um, I know going in the mornings can be a little bit difficult, so hopefully you're fueled by whatever source of caffeine you need, and hopefully we don't lull you to sleep with so much. But I'm Jeremy Hirsch.
I'm Sam Wilson, the owner of 1-800 Unlocks and the Locksmith agency. Jeremy is my VP, and we know most of you. There may be some that we don't know. We haven't had a chance to introduce ourselves. Just quick background. Um, I grew up around locksmithing. My family owns a locksmith shop here in Richmond, Virginia. It's called American Lock and Key. And essentially got my start with the digital marketing world by helping my family's business. And so once I saw pretty good success, continued success, I started to offer my website services to other locksmiths. Just seemed like a natural kind of progression there. And knock on wood, things have continued to snowball. We're very grateful to all of our clients. And everybody here at the Locksmith Agency, we have everybody's works here in the U.S. So for our website services, just to let you know, like if that's something you guys end up being interested in any way, that's we don't have any. Not that it's necessarily a bad thing, but I'll just say I prefer to have people here in the U.S.
We have a US-based team that specializes and does nothing but,
Locksmiths.
work on digital presence for locksmiths. They're
Yeah,
not like doing roofers or something else either,
yeah.
but I know a lot of you know that. The purpose of today's webinar is we wanted to go into just some tips and things that you can really do to help yourself out on Google. That's one of the biggest things that we get requests about, or people want to talk to Sam or myself about. So, kind of just a little intro. We're going to kind of dive deep into what your Google business profile is, how you can help yourself on Google, and actually how your website even ties into a little bit of what you do. So, the first thing is kind of defining what is a Google business profile. And if I look down, I do have a little cheat sheet for myself to make sure I don't forget anything because I want to give you guys as much good information as possible. Um, but your Google Business Profile is that free listing that you have on Google Search and Maps. And it's not just a listing, it's a digital storefront, basically. It's a digital representation of your business. It showcases your services, your products, FAQs, reviews, photos, updates, posts. Many potential customers may never even click past it, which means your Google Business Profile is potentially your first and only chance to actually acquire that customer. So why does it matter? Why should you, the locksmiths, care? Studies show that showing up in the top three or the map pack gets the most clicks and visibility. When people search locally, they need services, typically, especially for our industry, immediately. So appearing in that map pack is kind of the difference between you getting business or another competitor in your area. Um, the three biggest ranking factors that as we go through this that I want you guys to remember is Google based on these elements. They base on relevance, which is how closely your profile matches the potential customer's search. Distance, how close you are to the customer utilizing search. And I know some of you are service area businesses. Um, that while yes, there is a little disadvantage at times if somebody has a brick and mortar, but this is still applicable to you if you're in their search area. And the last metric is prominence. And what prominence is how well known you are, how active you are, how trusted your business appears to be. So that can be something as, if you get a bunch of Home Depots with, deduplication machines. Home Depot has a lot of prominence because they're a nationwide entity. But how you combat that or how you do things on a local level is being out there in terms of, having a strong website, having your GBP filled out, being on Facebook, being on LinkedIn, being on different entities that can send those signals to show that you're an active, functioning business. Every optimization step ties back to one of these three pillars. So everything we're going to talk about, which, kind of progress so you guys can see the agenda. Every one of the things I just mentioned is going to tie into this. So today we're going to talk about how to optimize GPP signals. We're going to talk about your reviews. We're going to talk about your business details and how those need to look. We're going to talk about citations. And, I'm sure some of you are familiar with citations, but that's something, when we have conversations, people want to know more about. We're going to talk about how you can encourage user engagement, how to enhance your website's authority, stuff you can avoid, like kind of the biggest no-nos that we see people do. We'll talk a little bit about our services that we offer. We'll answer your questions, and then we'll throw up our information at the end. Like Sam said, we know a bunch of you, but for those that don't know us, we'll have ways to contact us fairly easily. With that, I'm going to toss the first slide over to Sam.
All right. Thank you so much. Great intro. All right. So I just wanted to, quickly circle back. So again, we're talking about the Google Business Profile. It's the free listing. We're not talking about your ads. We're not talking about your local service ads. And, there's PPC, which is a little bit more complex. You typically need someone to help you manage that. And then there's the LSA, which now Google has made the change. You need to have a Google Business Profile to even be available to, to have that option to even do local service ads. That's just their attempt to further try and weed out some of the, fake listings and scammers. As we all know, they don't do a great job at it. What they say and what they do are always two different things. So with that, talk a little bit about the Google Business Profile and, what you can do to kind of optimize that a little bit better. And so when we're going through this, feel free to take notes, think of, your own listing, and you guys can certainly take action after the fact. Just want to caution, never change too many things too quickly. So, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. So think about your Google Business Profile as like a resume for your business. So like if there are sections that are blank or it's incomplete, and Google is going to prefer businesses that give full information. Now we have AI looking at everything and trying to really get like a full picture about your business. What can you do? Where do you go? Do people like working with you? All of that really helps send those signals to Google and to customers that they should go with you. So fill in every available field. That's going to include your categories, your services, your description, your hours, your website, any booking links, messaging, question and answers, aka like FAQs, photos, videos, posts. The more complete and relevant you look, it's just going to help you out. Primary category selection for us. Our industry is locksmith. So, if you have some other category, maybe just emergency locksmith or key duplication or safe and vault or, what is it, security service installation, aka kind of like access control, you're going to more than likely want locksmith to be your primary category. That's critical. It sets the foundation for what searches you actually come up for. The secondary category is going to help expand the reach, but it doesn't carry the same weight. Big red flag. If you don't have locksmith as your primary category, you do try and change that, and Google is going to flag it. It's just going to happen. And it might be a soft suspension wherein you could like go in an incognito window, search on someone else's phone, and you'll still see your business profile, but on the back end, it is going to show that it is suspended. That's a soft suspension. Hard suspension would be Google totally taking you down. You're not visible whatsoever. So just be really, really cautious about that. If you have questions, definitely jot that down, ask us later. And then last thing, regular update content visuals. So what does that mean? Google Business, you can upload photos. You can also upload videos. So businesses that upload new photos or publish Google Business posts at least monthly are often rewarded with better rankings. The freshness signal, that matters. So if you haven't touched your map listing in a while, posting is a safe thing to do. You're not going to have any problems. You can add a post, you can add a picture, you can add a video, about what you actually do. And Google will prioritize that video as well. So don't be afraid. You don't necessarily need to show your face. I know a lot of locksmiths are kind of shy when it comes to that. But in my opinion, like you are the business owner, the scammers are hiding behind, so many facades. Like, don't be afraid to, you have that competitive advantage. You can get out there. I know it's not comfortable, but we highly recommend it. Okay, so that's a little bit more about, the different things you can do to optimize your listing.
And we'll get into more of that. We'll circle more into this too later. The next thing we kind of want to go through is leveraging your reviews, which is something that I know can be a little tricky asking for the reviews and getting them. But what does it mean? How is it helpful? So reviews really truly matter. They're one of the top signals for your profile to Google, because it's showing that you are interacting with real customers. They're interacting with you. They're social proof. They're one of the strongest ranking signals. The more high quality reviews you have, the stronger prominence you have in your local search. And one thing I'll mention in terms of quality versus quantity, that really matters. So what do I mean by that? So let's just say you got a 5-star review and nothing's there. Yeah, you got a review that's good, but like a quality review is, Jim at Jim Bob's Locksmith really helped me out. He installed a brand new smart lock on my front door. What did you do for that customer? What service? The more details it has, the better. And I know you're not going to necessarily get your customer to write you a novel, but you can talk to them about leaving you a review and just say, hey, would you mind leaving me a review and letting people know what I did for you today. One of the metrics, one of the things we have to kind of help overcome, that ask is we even like program tap cards for locksmiths where, hey, we just completed a service. Do you mind tapping your phone and leaving us a review? And that way, this little card actually takes them directly to your Google business profile where they can easily leave a review. Like Sam was just holding up. If you have a shop, Sam's shop downstairs has one of these at the counter. So after they do service, the customer can just tap their phone and just leave them a quick review. You're gonna, get just the bland 5-star ones. That's like I said, that's okay. But just if you can, just encourage any detail for, hey, just let people know, what we did here today. That would be a huge help. People tend to want to support their local businesses. So listen, if it's an uncomfortable conversation, I get it. But any tools or anything that we can help you with to make it easier. Again, just reviews are a massive signal to Google, so definitely try and get those as you can. Um, in terms of what Google's looking at in those reviews, I know we literally just touched on some of that, but they look at review quantity, average rating, and freshness. So what does that mean? And we see a lot of it, and I'm sure you see a lot of it with your competitors. But a business with 200 reviews from 3 years ago may not rank as well one with 50 recent reviews. Um, so definitely develop a review strategy, utilize the tools we just mentioned, and responding to your reviews is also a key component of review work, and that's something we do for our clients as well here at the Locksmith Agency. But what does it do? How does replies help? It reassures customers that you're an engaged, functional business. Nothing like a bunch of reviews and nobody has said anything, so people wonder like, what's going on with these people. And it's also, again, one of those active profile signals to Google that helps your rankings. So make sure that you're asking for reviews. Try and encourage a little bit of detail to them. Quick feedback is very important and extremely valuable. And then having review signals may influence over 15% of Map Pack rankings based on recent data. So reviews are a huge metric in terms of trying to elevate your Google listing in the Map Pack. And from there,
Yeah, no, I just want to quickly throw
yeah.
in. We all know that there's the fake reviews out there, right? Locksmiths will oftentimes just get bombarded by a handful of fake reviews, or you'll have people messaging you from another country, basically threatening you with the bad reviews if you don't pay. My advice is totally ignore them. Don't even engage, because once you engage, they got their hook in you, and it'll just fester. So don't respond at all. And if you do get some bad reviews, don't panic. Chances are they'll violate Google's terms of service. Feel free to message us on Facebook or however. And,
Also
we're happy to
awesome.
lend a quick helping hand, flag a review. mark it as spam, whatever the case may be. And if it is a truly authentic bad review, don't blow up at the customer.
Oh
If you
yeah,
can like
please.
bite your tongue, like take a breath, don't immediately blow up at them. Try and think of a professional way to respond to them, and because customers are also looking at that, they don't really want to necessarily hire a company that is going to be so combative. So do your best to think long term and not get so heated in the moment.
Just going on top of that too, a bad review, even especially if it's legitimate, just because you don't have a perfect 5-star rating is not going to hurt you. Like I know this sounds insane, but people who see like genuine feedback and that you responded to an issue that happened in a nice professional way are still more likely to book you because there is a segment of the population, I think on your own searches, where if they see a company has like 1,000 reviews and all of them are 5-star, they're a little leery of it. So as long as you are responding professionally and actively engaged in your profile, you don't need to freak out about that. I've
Mhm.
talked to a lot of locksmiths who are like, oh, I need this removed. Well, is it legitimate? Yeah. So then just talk to them. Like it's not going to kill your business to be
Yeah.
4.9, 4.8, 4.7 if people can actually see like what's going on. And if you're
Mhm.
responding like Sam said, um, you have an advantage of just one, responding professionally, and two, people having sort of that visual documentation like, oh, that's how these guys handle stuff. That's awesome. Um,
Mhm.
so definitely get reviews, be cognizant of how you respond to your customers, and make sure that you are responding to your customers.
Yeah. And just like as a quick like, gauge, I mean, try and get like one review a week. We're not saying get one every day or else. Like just if you can get one review a week, like that's nice, that's consistent, that's organic. So just like in terms of, setting yourself a goal.
Yeah. And then from there, boop,
All right, business details.
Sam's
So,
excited.
all right, so this is the section about, accurate NAP, and business details. So with what is NAP? Name, address, phone number. That's kind of an old adage, and that's really the bare bones basic of business details. And Google is crazy anal about making sure the business name and the address match, even if you're mobile. So consistency is really key, no pun intended. Google's going to cross-reference your GBP with your website and major directories. So if your business name, address, phone number don't match, trust is weakened, and it can also provide, be confusing to customers, especially in the day and age where you have random, let's just call them scammers, whatever, fly-by-nights that are creating business names that may be very, very similar to yours. I mean, we suffer from that even here. For the longest time, there were no other any business similar to American Lock and Key. Now we have somebody that's called American Lock and Security. Very similar, easy for customers to get confused. So just making sure that your business is as accurate everywhere as possible is very, very important. Um, making sure that you keep your hours up to date. It's good for the customer. It's good for Google to see that you're active and you're responsive. So if your hours say you're 24, but you're really not 24, consider changing that. If you're going to be closed for a random day or holiday, don't mark yourself as temporarily closed. There is a section in the Google Business profile where you can add like special hours and you can say, hey, whatever it is, September 9th, like I'm closed that day. I'm going to be sick or I'm not, I'm going to be sick. I'm sick. I'm going to be out. Like I just know that. So you don't have to mark yourself as temporarily closed. Um, let's see here. Secondary attributes. So, like if you do have a storefront, for example, you can say that you offer on-site services, you all have wheelchair accessibility, things like that are also going to help customers know that when they get to you, they're going to be able to be serviced comfortably. So, one of them is wheelchair accessibility. What type of payments, do you offer? Your service area. They don't just help the users, they make your profile more complete in Google's eyes, which boosts your relevance. So always think of your Google business profile as a living document. If it's out of date, if the phone number's wrong or your hours are wrong, it can easily turn away customers. Um, one thing I will also mention, just as like taking a step back, it's still online, but when you set up your business, however long ago that was, and you filed with the Secretary of State or your county, you got your, your business license, you got your fictitious name, your trading name, your DBA, whatever you want to call it. You have your sales tax, you have your county license, all of those things, your locksmith license. Make sure you take a minute, in the near future to go back, look all that information up, make sure it's accurate. If you've moved recently, whether it's homes or location, make sure your business name exactly matches, even something as small as like an ampersand or um, spelling out the word and. Just make sure everything is accurate and up to date. Google seems to be checking those sources as well and can randomly mark you as suspended if it's out of date, insurance, like all of that stuff. So just make sure, cover your own backside and make sure it's all up to date. All right, citations and mentions. So the consistency of the NAP, which we kind of touched on, what are citations? They're essentially digital references. So a structured citation can come from, you've got structured and unstructured. Something structured would be like Yelp, Yellow Pages, Angie's List, Better Business Bureau, local chamber of commerce. Um, these are the types of places that you want to make sure your business is at least listed. You don't need to be BBB approved or anything like that, but you just want to make sure that take full advantage of every outlet that you can. That's a free platform to have your business listed and the information up to date, because customers are all over the place. They're searching all over the places. Organic results vary and change, but in the end, Google is still the 800-pound gorilla, and you want to make sure all your information is up to date. Here at the Locksmith Agency, we offer something called citation services, and you can even get this on your own. Like, you don't need to use us, but it's a basic service that I recommend every business should have, especially new businesses, to start to just lay the foundation of your business information on the web. So, there's companies like Yext. We particularly use Moz, and we have an agency deal with them. So, like, we get much better pricing than retail pricing, but essentially that becomes the truth source. So it's like 450 a year. So it's not a massive amount of money. It's a yearly thing. And we take your business details and we put it into Moz. And that would include your business name, your address, your service area, your phone number, email, website, categories, a short description, a long description, photos, videos, hours, categories. Like, it's a lot of payment methods, languages, there's a lot of business, a lot of different data points that then the system will automatically push that information out to aggregators and directories online. Um, so like if you have to change your hours and you're a client, just let us know and we will take the time. We'll go into the platform, we'll update the hours. And then, of course, if you're a website client, we update the website hours. If you have a listing in 1-800 Unlocks, we update them there. So it's like multiple places, but we want to get that knocked out same day quickly so that, there are no issues with your online presence. The caveat I will say is I try and limit what I connect the Google business profile to. In the past, I've seen some locksmiths connected to like Square, and then inadvertently, Square will push a business name change because it wasn't exactly how your business profile was, and then your business gets suspended. Same thing with citations. I just don't hook up citations to Google. It wants me to. It's always throwing alerts like do this, but our industry is specific. We have, a ton of scammers and Google's got us under the magnifying lens. So like I'm cool with Moz and the citations pushing out everywhere else. I do Google by hand in the native platform carefully and monitor it. And if there are any issues, like I work to get the client, re-verified as quickly as possible. So citations are just a very basic foundational point. If you're not actively doing it, definitely consider doing it. You may be currently using a platform like Thrive or Dex Media, one of these website companies. They may be doing it for you unbeknownst to you. So it's important to reach out to them and hey, what are the business details you have on hand for me? Let me make sure everything is up to date. Um, so let's see here. Unstructured. So that's all structured. Unstructured is going to be equally powerful. So like being mentioned in local press, sponsorship, blogs, community pages, all of that will add credibility. Um, Anytime you get organic mentions online that may just simply mention your business name or link your website, like that's also going to be helpful. So if you guys, do any sponsorship with local, I mean, softball team, for example,
something or other.
anything, check if they have a website. Check if that website, if they are open to putting your business logo and a link back to your website locally. Like that would be fantastic as a great local backlink. Additional references, Reddit is huge right now. Facebook, 1-800unlocks.com, fairtradelocksmiths.com. Like Google uses citations to verify your business is real. It's trusted, established in your community. So focus on getting those citations where your customers are likely to see you, not just like the mass directories. The local relevance really matters more than the volume, and all of that's going to help to boost your Google business profile's relevance.
Nice. Thank you, Sam.
Yep.
The next area we're going to talk about with this man yelling into this microphone, all the wonderful colors, encouraging user engagement. So, how do you make people want to engage with your profile? So, Google tracks user behavior. So, what does that mean? Every time you're doing a search or something, you have your own profile. So, you're logged into Google. So, Google tracks individual user profiles and shows things that they think are going to be relevant to that user. So for argument's sake here, Sam and I live in Richmond, Virginia. Sam's searches may be wildly different than my searches for what he wants to see in the area. So we could be searching at the exact same location in the American Lock and Key building, but what Google shows me might be different than what Google shows Sam. So basically, Google's trying to judge if your specific listing satisfies the searcher. So if people click your listing and immediately call or request directions, that's a really strong positive signal to Google to want to show your business in search results. Um, Engagement metrics tend to include clicks to your website, call button taps. So the little button, the little call button that you see in your little profile. So they're calling you immediately. Photo views. So if they're scrolling through the photos that you post, and like Q&A activities. So having the FAQs, or people like putting FAQs, or you responding to them if they do. Any other types of clicks that are specifically coming from your Google business profile. So how can you encourage engagement? How can you encourage somebody to want to interact with your profile? You can post offers, you can post promotions, you can do any activities that invite clicks. You can upload photos of your work. So like Sam was mentioning earlier, if you're like a little bashful and don't want to show your face, one, like not to be a jerk, be comfortable getting uncomfortable. But yeah, show off your work, show off what you're doing, show off what you're working on with a little like 10-second video or some pics. Video actually gets the most interaction and engagement out of anything. And while we can come up with posts and content and great things for our clients, we're not there with you on site. We can't video you. You can send, I mean, I'm the one who edits stuff. So if we work on your Google business profile and you want to send me something to cut down, I'm happy to do it. But let's get that kind of stuff out there on your profile. And also responding quickly to those reviews that we're talking about. This is another rehash, but the reason it's being rehashed is it's in another section showing what Google wants to see. So any unanswered reviews or questions look like you're providing poor service. Businesses with higher engagement, higher response times tend to stick in the map pack a little bit longer. And everything we're talking about is generalities. Certainly there's exceptions to rules, but all this stuff, these little tips and tricks are meant to help you get your profile to be viewed, get you in that map pack, and have it stick around a little bit longer and increase your traffic, which increases your likelihood of booking these jobs. And a lot of this actually, not just for a little segue, a lot of this ties into your website too. Google business profiles in your website kind of work in concert. Sam is now going to talk a little bit more about that.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and just a quick thing real fast. Well, it has to do with the website, but back to the engagement signals. Google does allow you to share reviews, embed reviews, share your posts. So don't be afraid to make a post, then share. You're making the post on Google. You can share it on your business Facebook page. You can share it on your personal Facebook page.
LinkedIn.
You can share it on LinkedIn. So don't be afraid to take that post and just spread it around as much as possible, especially if it's a special offer or anything like that that you think, you're trying to drum up some more business. Um, and that's why when we build websites, we embed reviews. If you have a storefront, we'll link you can grab the directions link. We create a button, get directions to our office. We're just trying to make it as easy for customers to get to you, to work with you. But also, secondarily, we're trying to provide more signals to Google. So all of that matters. So let's talk about websites a little bit more, and just like the websites that we build really kind of tailored to help your Google business profile boost. We don't build tiny websites. We're not a Dex or a Thrive. We don't build websites that are only, one page, two page, three page. People use GoDaddy and Thrive. Like, that's fine. Work with what you need to work with. But we tend to build websites that have all of your services, residential, commercial, yes, automotive, yes, but we'll go deeper: car key programming, lock rekeying, master
Ignition
key,
repair.
ignition repair. We want the pages to kind of align with the services that you offer, and
Yeah.
then we also want to create pages that align with your service area as well. So Locksmith Richmond, Locksmith Midlothian, Locksmith Henrico. That's all going to help Google kind of see that your Google business profile is a mirror of your website and vice versa.
It speaks to what the customer may be searching for, and it speaks to the areas that the customer may be searching from.
Yeah. So your website reinforces what the GBP says. If your GBP lists locksmith services, but your website doesn't mention it for whatever reason, that's a mismatch. If, again, back like ignition repair, if your GBP doesn't mention it, but your website does, that's not great. So we really work to, when we onboard clients, we have a really detailed intake form, but that's really all we need. You don't need to baby us and explain what ignition repair is, or, what is a mortise lock, or we're not using European lock pictures when we're not in Europe. So that's kind of, we save people a lot of time. Anyway, it's also good to add local business schema to your website. It makes it easier for Google to connect the dots between your website and your GBP. So, what is local business schema? It's structured data. It's kind of a way, it's like search engines, not just Google, but Yahoo and Bing, etc., that it's structured in a way that it helps them understand about your business. And there's tons of different structured schema. There's local business schema, there's FAQ, there's review, there's product, there's tons of different schemas that can be embedded in the website. And that's part of what we do as well. Consistency matters. If your GBP lists service areas, but your website doesn't, that's going to also weaken signal. So align both for the maximum impact. Use on-site SEO to match headings, meta tags, service pages to what people are searching locally. So, make sure your website content uses the same terms. So if people search emergency locksmith Richmond, that phrase should appear on your website exactly. Ensure consistency between your site and GBP, services, NAP, branding details. Those all align, and strengthen the ranking signals. So make sure your hours are listed. Make sure, I've seen websites where locksmith hours are just nowhere to be found. So Google's going to essentially treat your website as a credibility booster for your GBP. The stronger the site, the more weight your profile is going to carry.
And on that, I'm going to start getting into things to avoid on your Google business profile, which is always the fun thing that we end up having to.
We hope we're going to help you avoid screwing
Suspense.
yourself.
Please don't do these things. Even if they work some of the time, please, for the love of God, don't do these things. Number one, Sam mentioned this at the start: constant or unnecessary wow, I could speak today. Constant or unnecessary edits. So frequent changes to your business name, categories look super suspicious. So like if you're in there, if you want to change something like one thing and then you need to change something a little bit later on, like spread it out. If you're in there dicing up and chopping up everything on your profile, that looks incredibly weird to Google, and they may actually suspend you for doing that, even if it's innocuous, even if it's like genuine changes. They do not love to see a bunch of changes on your profile. Um, it looks very, very what they would define as manipulative. So they want to make sure that everything is staying mostly the same. But like I said, if you do have some changes, if you do have a couple of them, try and spread them out over time. Don't just go and hack up your profile. The next one, which is fun, and I'm sure you guys know at least some scammer in your area that loves doing this, keyword stuffing. So that's when you're throwing in extra phrases that are not part of your business. So, like an example here, if there was Locksmith, Richmond, Virginia Keys Remotes car key lockout service, they could absolutely get suspended either through like when a Google's algorithm crawls, or just somebody. I mean, you can actually like report them because that's not their business name. Evidence would be whatever's they're registered as in the state, or even at the bottom of the website. You'll see like it's actually Richmond Car Keys LLC, and that's the actual name. It violates Google's guidelines and absolutely can trigger a suspension. Um, or just be completely removed. Using a residential address. And I know some of you do this not because you're trying to do anything unscrupulous, but because, like as we've mentioned, brick and mortar tends to perform a little bit better because there's, obviously a centralized location. However, listing your home as a storefront in hopes of being kind of recognized as a brick and mortar is a common reason we see a lot of people get suspended. There is a service area business option that will hide your address if you don't have a real office. So I know it's tempting. I know there's, maybe some short-term benefit, but in the long run, you could be doing yourself more harm than good by doing that. Another thing that we tend to see a lot, duplicate profiles. Don't create duplicate Google business profiles for the same business. Consolidate under one listing. If you do have physical brick and mortar locations, obviously, that's fine. But if you're a service area business and you're trying to register at a bunch of text houses or different places just to have like a big swath of area for different profiles, you actually can be really, really doing more damage to yourself than you realize because you're cannibalizing your business by doing that. So aside from even the threat of suspension on a business standpoint, um, there's in ranking factors a thing called share of local voice. So basically, what percentage will your profile come up in sort of like top tier searches? So if you have multiple businesses listed, and I would say a 25-mile and under radius, the profiles are taking business away from each other. It's not actually helping you. So that is a big thing that I see that can just absolutely be avoided. Fake or purchase reviews, and I know that's another thing that you guys, I'm sure, have run into. Buying or trading reviews is detectable by Google. So basically, they through their algorithm will run scans and they can actually remove a listing because you've been buying reviews. So there's some severe penalties to that. It doesn't always get caught immediately. I know sometimes it's frustrating to see like, hey, somebody down the street is buying reviews and it's hurting you. But in the long-term game, like they can get their profiles removed and suspended. And a lot of scammers don't care if they get shut down because then they'll just move somewhere else and start back up. And again, I know it's frustrating, but that is not a good practice to go by. Fake or purchase reviews can be detected and cause you a heck of a lot of issues. And Google is constantly changing sort of their sweeps to get better at detecting those.
And I mean, I will also say that Google's not perfect. Surprise, surprise. They remove perfectly legitimate reviews too. So that does happen and that sucks. On the other hand, if you do engage with one of these people that offer to sell you reviews, they can easily flip the script and say, okay, you bought some 5-star reviews for me, but they're not satisfied with how many you bought and how much you spent. So they're going to say, "Hey, now I can destroy your business. I'm going to leave you 50 fake reviews if you don't pay me X amount of dollars. So just engaging with those people, it's just risky, and so it's highly recommended to avoid that.
And so what are the offerings, like what do we do to kind of help businesses succeed on Google? Sam alluded to a lot of these, and there's honestly tons more. I'll just do a brief gloss over of this, and then Sam, anything else you want to add? But like Sam mentioned, we do website work. Our web designers build mobile-friendly WordPress websites to help get your customers, grow your business. Our sites are built with conversion in mind, so kind of like what Sam's talking about, and have good functionality and usability in mind to make things easy to navigate. And exclusivity is sort of a big thing for us. So what I mean by that is if you are a website client, we're not like the other agencies, because we're not trying to get as many customers in an area as possible. We work with one locksmith in a given service area so we can do the best job for them. So if I'm just making something up, but if you're our locksmith client in Houston, Texas, we're only working with that one locksmith in Houston, Texas, because we don't want to do an okay job for two locksmiths in an area. We want to do a great job for one partner in an area. The SEO, Sam mentioned a little bit in terms of your search engine optimization. It's the lifeblood of your website and of your business, so people can actually find you. The strategies that we employ are meant to rank you higher. They're meant to make you show up in the local searches, which is what this whole thing has been about. Google Maps optimization, obviously, the bulk of what we've been talking about today. Um, we want to hopefully increase your online visibility through your Google Maps in terms of posting, in terms of review responses, in terms of making sure each section is as fleshed out and accurate as possible. We do social media work. So we used to just pretty much do Google business profiles and Facebook a little bit, but customers are on different platforms and things as well. So we're beginning to offer other different platforms. We do have an in-house social media team that's capable of doing like TikTok and LinkedIn and Instagram. So that's been a more recent change for us, just because we want to be where you guys want to be and where your customers are. So we do have different avenues and customizable packages, for lack of a better phrase, to help you be where you need to be. We do citation management that Sam had mentioned when we were talking about the citation section. So pretty much any sort of organic benefit for your digital presence is what we provide. And I know I just speed ran that, but Sam, if you want to
Oh, I
add
mean,
things.
that covers most of it. I mean, but I will also say this is separate from the marketing. But I mean, if I'm just going to say that we also do send jobs to locksmiths. So, this again, separate from the marketing, but we do also essentially act as an NSP. We have national clients simply because we know locksmiths everywhere, and we work to get commercial, residential, automotive partners where we can sometimes it's just a commercial job, for instance, or a residential job. We'll pay you. There's absolutely no fee. We also do have partnerships where, we don't control the whole thing. So we do have to get, there's a small lead fee. And then, the big thing is right now, 1-800 Unlocks and Fair Trade Locksmiths, when you sign up with us, you get free online presence, places where customers can leave reviews, great for citation, social credibility. But 1-800 Unlocks is also a lead gen platform. Customers call all day long and they just type in their zip code on the phone and it connects to the local locksmith, like a dealer locator. Those leads are entirely free. So we have a lot of leads that are going unanswered. So we definitely are trying to build up the network, expand it. We want locksmiths. Again, same with the website, but not as exclusive. We're not trying to get 100 locksmiths in a city.
We limit the amount of locksmiths we have in a given area, because if we have 15 locksmiths in an area, but only like 5 jobs come in a month, like that's not helping anybody. So we do have limited space in a given area for those free leads. And I also want to include, because it ties back to what we've been talking about all morning, 1-800 Unlocks as a niche directory is pulled in by Google. So if you ever see on the bottom of your Google business profile that there is
Your knowledge panel.
your now sorry about that, your knowledge panel reviews from the web section, they pull in 1-800 Unlocks. So getting reviews on your 1-800 Unlocks profile is actually beneficial to that social proof that we were discussing.
Yes.
Um, we thank you guys for joining us. Just to wrap up and kind of do like a little review, Google business profiles are about success, or their success is tied to consistency, completeness, and credibility. Google wants to see that your business is real, relevant, and reliable both online and offline. You got to focus on building trust with your customers, keeping your information accurate, and earning and responding to the reviews and showing your regular activity. Um, if I could say nothing else as a little exercise or a takeaway from this, take one action that we've asked you to do today, just one, and focus on getting that done. That will help you. Even if you could just do one or two, or if you want to do one a week, or whatever manageable chunk. Or, if it is too much because you're out in the field or you're a one-man show, or there's just, one or two, of you guys in the company, or however it is, we can do stuff for you too. And we try to do as much free stuff for you guys as humanly possible. But at the end of the day, we're a business too. So if you do need additional help, or you do need like a professional guiding hand that only works with locksmiths, that's what we're here for. Um, on that note, we wanted to give you guys some time to ask your questions. If it's something where my business was suspended, I need help with that. That's better off for getting on Sam's calendar. These are just kind of general questions on what we've talked about. I am stopping the share. That way I can kind of see what you guys have been typing.
So Andrew's raised his hand. So Joe
Yeah,
asked, what about companies that are listed by Google but have no website? I will have to actually see that listing. So Joe, if you want to like grab their share link and send it to me, I have to take a look. I mean, certainly there are businesses that do have a GBP but have no website. I've seen them rank just fine. Maybe they're getting a ton of reviews. Maybe because there's such a lack of information, Google maybe gives them a little bit of credence. I mean, that's just hypothetical. I'd have to look at the listing to see a little bit more and try and like, that specific situation. Um,
there are definitely a lot of different variables for why that can be
yeah,
happening.
maybe yeah, competition, reviews. Maybe they're doing some things like building backlinks, behind the scenes. Maybe it was made a long time ago. Maybe there's some sort of factor that Google is seeing that, maybe helping it rank. But yeah, you could have a GBP without a website. That's entirely possible. And sometimes I may even advise if their website is severely out of date and incorrect, I may advise them just don't even list your website until you get it. Until you get it. New guys, you see a lot. I'll have to take a look at it, honestly, Joe, and try and dig a little bit deeper. That's a tough one to give like a finite answer on.
Or sometimes even though they don't have a website, if they're involved heavily into paying for PPC, if they're
PPC or
giving Google
ads, like
money.
maybe, yeah, or maybe, they may be running some sort of kind of a scheme where they're, using people to create fake engagement, on private kind of virtual computers and things like that. I've seen it just kind of sketchy to me. And honestly, like it could lead to a suspension. So there's a kind of black hat things that I just don't recommend. Um,
Gabrielle, social media. How do you guys work with that? We create the video content. You guys edit and manage social media. What platforms do you guys manage? Gabrielle, very good question, my friend. We can edit video content and post it on various channels. What platforms can you guys manage? Pretty much anything now. Facebook, X, TikTok, LinkedIn. So
Instagram.
Instagram, if you can provide video content that you want us to edit, YouTube channels, just like I mean, it's the honest answer. The more stuff we're doing or the more channels we're managing, obviously, the more costs based on time. We have an in-house team that we use for social media management. So some of that's up to them too. So, to answer your question, yes, we can edit and manage anything you guys shoot, and we can do any platform.
Yeah, just also to like give you some direction or everybody out there, like we would recommend you create short form content, be very specific and precise with the message that you're trying to convey. Like, let's say you want to do a video about just automotive or even a specific car. Um, it's always great to mention what you do, your name, your contact details, how they can reach you, maybe some pricing information. That sort of stuff is going to really resonate with customers because it's just really informative. But yeah, we can modify, edit, give it captions. We could, potentially even add music, background music. We can add what do you call it with the overlay so people can't like watermarks so people can't take it and reuse it on their own platform. So that's something we can certainly do.
Yeah. Does anybody else have any other questions? See if it pops up. I want to pop up our contact information there we go.
Thank you, Chad. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Darwin.
Okay. Okay, so you opened a second business 4 miles away and it gets calls more than 300 and it gets more calls than my 300 review 5.0 3-year-old company. And I get new reviews about every week on both businesses. Okay, so you're wondering why, I presume? Like what is happening?
Yeah, why is his new business getting?
Hmm.
I gotcha.
I'd have to do my best to take a look kind of under the hood at the back end and see what's going on and even consult with some other Google product experts and managers to find out what they think. It could just, that's interesting. I'd be interested to know the business name, address, all that stuff.
I mean, they're different zip codes, so search for
What's the competition like over there?
there. I'm purely speculating, but a lot of it can be because where people are searching for it. If the better performing business is in more maybe population dense zip codes, or people are just in more need in that area where the newer business is, that can impact it as well. Without seeing, like Sam says, behind the hood and like what are the searches like in the given areas and what's being pulled in, it's really hard to actually be able to say definitively, yeah, it's from X, Y, or
Yeah, like
Z.
I'd like to look at the performance tab, like what is it being shown for? Like how are they set up? So yeah, I'd love to it's more rural and all the farmers. Okay. So the second business is getting calls from more rural people. So maybe just the fact of where it is, how it's moved over, it's then pulling people, like it's being shown for those. That's interesting. I'd love to take a look. We
Yeah.
could share screen. We can hop on a Zoom and take a quick look at everything. But hey, at the end of the day, you're getting calls. So yeah, I mean, if locksmiths want to create more map listings, it is somewhat spammy, but as long as you're following guidelines and playing the game, right? So you could technically create a new LLC and set up a whole new business and do all that to get verified. If you wanted to have two service area business listings, they just have to be kind of far enough away to where it's not a problem. And that's generally about 2.5 hours away. If you were going to service two parts of the state, for example, as long as they're far away, you can have two service area business listings. You can't have one like storefront and one service area. So you can't be showing your address and then one that you're not showing your address. That's likely to get one of them is one or both are likely to get suspended. So yeah, I think we can show our contact information.
I think that's
You
just
like that?
so that's cool. I can't tell. I don't think
It's not at our
that's not
shop.
at our shop. I definitely have a lot of pictures that we've taken over the years of different places and different shops and different things. So yeah, that is not at ALK. Um, I do want to throw out our information. So if there are more pointed questions about your specific business that, might require more than like a minute or two to answer, the locksmith agency phone number is 804 84. I'm speaking great today. 804-464-8668. That'll ring over. Sam will most likely pick that up.
Yeah.
You can email either of us, Jeremy at 1-800unlocks.com, Sam at 1-800unlocks.com. Um, if there's something where it's going to be like very Google Maps specific and like a reinstatement or this or that, Sam's probably a better bet for those questions. If you want to know more about websites or social services or just those general inquiry questions, I'm probably a better bet. You can also call me at 804-615-8602. I have no problem with you guys calling or texting me or messaging me on Facebook, whatever's easiest for you. Like, we're genuinely, truly here to help you. The website where you can kind of review a lot of the services and things that we mentioned today, the locksmithagency.com. You can also see some of the sites that we've built. We work with, what is it now, over 100 locksmiths nationally with their website and digital presence. Um,
I'll also say, back to how do like, pardon me, getting a listing on 1-800 Unlocks and Fair Trade. Like, how are you going to do that? If you want to get jobs, how do you get into our job network? So you'll visit the locksmithagency.com, scroll all the way down to the bottom. There will be a button that says log into dashboard. There you can actually register. You'll register yourself as a person, and then it will kind of prompt you to build your business profile. For everybody that's already a client, chances are you already have a business profile. But if you make another one, we'll fix it. We'll clean it up.
yeah.
But that's, yeah, you log into the dashboard. If you want to write it down, it's just account.thelocksmithagency.com. So just put the word account before the website.
Account dot.
Account.thelocksmithagency.com. That's called a subdomain.
Andrew, $0 to sign up for dashboard and to be in 1-800 unlocks. $0, zeros of them.
Yes.
The only
for free.
The only thing with the lead system that we do, just to reiterate, 1-800 unlocks leads, those in-house leads are free. We do have partner channels. So like we have a car key leads program that sends exclusive car key cutting and programming leads. We have exclusive residential jobs. Those specific lead types will have costs associated with them because they're not our in-house programs. And then if you need digital services or anything, those are kind of a location and basically job size uh, cost variance. We don't have kind of like cookie cutter pricing on that type of stuff. It depends on the project. I do want to say thank you again to everybody who joined us this morning. Like I said, I will put this out after I edited it a little bit, but we will put this out on Facebook, on Locksmith Agency's Facebook page and 1-800 Unlocks page. Thank you again sincerely from both of us for joining us this morning and kind of bearing with us throughout this. We're going to do some additional webinars in the upcoming weeks. So please make sure that you're paying attention to those posts so we can get you some more ideas, some more insights, some more help with some of the issues that you may be tackling, or more information on different things we provide. If you have ideas or things you want us to do a webinar on, absolutely comment on those pages or message us. Our goal is to kind of do a couple of these per month, just to kind of get out in front of you and help you in any way we possibly can.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Feel free to like us on Facebook, leave us a review, and yeah, if anybody is interested in getting these special kind of a Google review, it's like a physical credit card, so it's reusable. You just keep it in your wallet. We have a store inside that account.thelocksmithagency.com, and yeah, we do so many things, but we can't get into it all today, but we appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to you later.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.